Hello, hello, and welcome back to Plenty of Tiff, where the takes are seasoned, the energy is high, and the room, oh, we're going to read that cover to cover. I'm your host, Tiffany, aka Opinionated Diva, and today I'm feeling some kind of way. We're living in a world where everyone has a microphone, but not everyone has the manual. We're navigating a cultural landscape that is shifting faster than a 24-hour news cycle, and some are making it look effortless. I hope you think I fall into that category, while others are, well, not so much. Let's get right into it. Starting with the diva drop. Listen, we have to talk about this because the internet is currently doing what it does best, interneting. And this week, the spotlight is glaring on Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. Now, full disclosure, despite me being a pop culture junkie, I have my limits. I hadn't even heard of this woman until my feed started buzzing with her recent press run. Although my friend did remind me of her outfit scandal that happened when she went to that Jeezy concert. Girl, number one, stay off my man. And once I saw the Joe Budden podcast and Breakfast Club clips, and that started making the rounds, I had to open my blinds, honey, and pay attention. Here is a diva drop on why your title matters as much as doing your homework, and that it isn't just a phrase used for grade school. The life coach versus the clinician. Let's get one thing straight. I think life coaches are vital. In the society we live in, having someone to help you navigate your goals and your mindset is huge. And the training many of them receive is nothing to scoff at. But, and there is always a but, and a wise man named Ned Stark also said, everything before the word but is horseshit. However, using a credential that requires a clinical or graduate level of training should not be tossed around because it fits. Unless you are Dr. Dre, who, let's be honest, sans his music, he could use a life coach of his own when addressing his history with women. But I digress. The point is, when you put doctor in front of your name while talking about mental health, the public assumes a certain level of regulated clinical expertise. We saw people try to play Dr. Jill Biden for using her title despite having a doctor of education. And let's be clear, a Ed.D. is a valid, rigorous credential. If you don't understand how higher education works or how these titles are earned, you need to either resource yourself and educate, or take a back seat. I'm talking to you, Wall Street Journal, for taking that baseless op-ed to print. You. Back to the topic at hand. Now let's look at the source. Ms. Bryant claims that her doctorate is from Argosy University. Now, if you know me, you know that I think a person's name alone can tell me if they're a serial killer. And a school's name is no different. The word argosy literally means a large merchant ship, typically one laden with a rich cargo or a fleet of such ships. And it's often used figuratively, as in the case with this university, to mean rich supply or treasure trove of something, whether that be knowledge, expertise, academic excellence, etc. Well, honey, in this case, Argosy University was a treasure trove indeed of financial misconduct, misappropriation, and straight up financial fraud. It shut down for a reason. So when you're out here leading with a title from an institution that essentially collapsed under the weight of its own shadiness, people are going to have questions. And to be fair, we cannot entirely blame Ms. Bryant for her popularity. She didn't beg for a viral moment. The public gave it to her. We praised her, we shared the clips, and we gave her the platform. And when I say we, I mean y'all. To quote a wise woman, I don't know her. If you are seeking emotional counseling, life coaching, or advice from a self-proclaimed psychology expert, you have to do your homework. Don't come around after the fact calling someone a fraud if you didn't check the receipts before you sat on their couch or invited them onto your show. But also, if you do claim the title, know that the people who actually earn the right to use it through the fire of licensure and clinical hours are going to come for you. It's like the title Esquire. Even though it's not a formal legal term defined by the federal statute, it is universally recognized as the title for a licensed attorney permitted to practice law. Using it without a license, honey, that's how you end up in a world of legal trouble that will ruin your reputation before you can even build it. Look at Kim Kardashian. Even after she passes the full bar in California, there is still going to be controversy over her using ESQ. Why? Because of her alternative pathway to get there. There are 4 states, California, Vermont, Washington, and Virginia, who allow you to skip law school and do an apprenticeship. It's a rabbit hole. You can go down it on your own time. But the point remains, titles carry weight, and people protect that weight. At the end of the day, anyone pursuing a PhD or doctorate will tell you, well, in my case anyway, Unless your goal is to be a professor, do deep research, or be a legitimate peer-reviewed expert in your field, it ain't worth it. I was given that advice and I'm glad I heeded it. The stress, the debt, and the time, no ma'am. Now, don't get me wrong. I fully accept any and all invitations for honorary doctorates, but there are two conditions. I have to be able to pronounce your school's name, and I need to be confident your doors will not be padlocked by the feds at any point in the near or far future. Keep your credentials clean and your standards high. That's my diva drop on that. Now it's time for my favorite shine, shade, or side eye. Today, I want to focus on the ladies who are taking It Gets Greater Later to new heights. And honey, I'm talking about the ones who haven't just still got it, they've upgraded it. But before we get to the shine, we have to address the side eye that I found. When I was researching what is the internet calling women of a certain age who are still fierce, right? And I stumbled across a term that made my spirit retreat. Queen-agers. WT entire F. Who do we have to thank for this? Well, British journalist Eleanor Mills. She's a former editor for the Sunday Times in the UK and runs a site called Noon aimed at women in midlife. Now, her heart is definitely in the right place. She re-envisioned what it means to be in the 45, 65-year club. Each year isn't a decline, but a vibrant new chapter. She even got the inspiration for the Queen part while in Jamaica. It's about being confident, financially independent, and empowered, and I dig it and I get it. But, and we already talked about what matters before the but, don't ever call me a queen-ager. Not now, not 10 years from now, not ever. There is absolutely nothing sexy about that word. It sounds like a participation trophy for growing up. Nobody wins. It's a nice sentiment, Miss Mills, but unequivocally, no. Then I saw Mature Mavens, but it felt a little too library book club. So we need a better name for these ladies. For now, I'm just going to call it 70s and getting it, okay? My first shine goes to the I'm Every Woman herself, Chaka Khan, who just turned 73 this year. And have you seen her lately? She is out here reveling in this newfound energy, this glow, and a level of sexiness that is truly giving fine wine. She recently talked about her wellness journey and how she's feeling better now than she did decades ago. Talk about coining a phrase. She just dropped a video for her track, Chakzilla. First of all, the only thing Chaka is calling herself is a literal force of nature. Chakzilla. It is giving power. It is giving, I will knock over your little skyscrapers with one high note. In the video, she is serving looks, she is serving hair, and most importantly, she is serving vibrancy. This isn't a comeback because she never left, but there is a newfound energy here. Now look, I'm a fan, but I'm a fan who keep it 100. I will absolutely address the elephant in the room here. As long as she does her live performance and it sounds nothing like that Verzuz from 2021, and you know where it is, we'll leave it there. This might be her best musical year. Chaka Khan, I think I love you. Now, if you thought Chaka was the only one in the 70s and getting it bracket, making waves, let's talk about the trailblazer, the original action queen herself, Pam Grier. Pam sat down on the Wiser Than Me podcast with Julia Louis-Dreyfus the other day, and honestly, she didn't just drop gems, honey. She dropped a bomb on me, okay? She dropped a bomb on me. First of all, babies, and I mean anybody under the age of 76, close your ears if you are the type that don't want to hear about sex, okay? Because we're about to talk about it. This conversation is for the grown-ups. So if you're under 76 and you're still too shy to talk about the birds and the bees, you might want to skip on to the next segment, honey, okay? Because Miss Pam, she is not shy. She is out here talking about her sexuality with a level of candor that makes a 20-year-old party girl look like Sister Mary Clarence, okay? So on the podcast, she said, when you're young, you can have 3, 4, 5 orgasms in an hour. But when you get my age, you have one and it lasts 3 days. Now, group chat, talk to me. 3 days, I literally need context. I had to pause the audio and ask the universe, is this a good thing or a bad thing? Because my first thought was logistics. Pam, ma'am, how do you get anything done? How do you go to the grocery store? Are you just vibrating around the world for 72 hours straight, girl? Nothing about that gives me a sensual feeling. The only thing that makes me feel good all over for 3 days, honey, is when I go out for a weekend and see that my bank account has not changed when it hit that account on Tuesday, okay? That's my all over glow. But then she hit us with the real tea. She said if she'd had this 3-day energy when she was younger, she would have had a better life and better boyfriends. So she did mean this in a good way. Honey, lions and tigers and bears, oh my. Essentially, she's saying she wouldn't have been out there chasing these 1-hour wonders if she knew she could provide her own 3-day festival of joy. It's the ultimate I don't need you flex, honey. She even mentioned she's in a cosmic relationship right now. Listen for the full pod. Go there if you want to hear more. But she's not letting it mess up her plans. She's got things to do. Okay, so her cosmic energy is all about, am I vibing with you? It's not about how you look, honey. Is the vibe matching? Is your aura bright? That is what she's on right now. Although I kind of be on that too. I'm kind of on that aura mix, okay? I'm giving Pam all the props. We spend so much time acting like women expire at a certain age, but Pam Grier is out here proving that the clock does not stop ticking until it do. And until then, stay getting it, girl. She's 76, she's vibrant, and she's reclaiming her pleasure on her own terms. I don't know if I'm ready for a 3-day marathon. I got a podcast to produce, Pam, but I am here for the confidence. If Chaka is the Zilla, then Pam is a cosmic goddess, and I ain't mad. As I talk about these ladies and think about my own ascent into womanhood, I think we can and should stop trying to find cute nicknames for women who have mastered the art of living. We are in our prime at whatever age we decide, whether it's 30, 40, 50, or beyond, honey. But the I don't care attitude is one that you can only earn with time. So Chaka and Pam and all the ladies in that 70s and getting it range, I see you and I salute you and I want to be you when I grow up. But for now, and as for me, if anyone calls me a Queen-ager, I'm going to stomp you out Tiffzilla style. I'm just kidding. But for real, don't do it. Okay, if you had your ears closed and left the room, you can come back now. While this week's Shine Shade or Side Eye has been heavy on the shine, I have to keep it balanced because for every woman out there ascending into her Chakzilla and cosmic power, there is always one, at least, who's on the other side of the fence, losing all the power. This next story is for the lovers and haters of politics, but it's not what you think. You'll enjoy my commentary. Hello, who gives you the news like me? You know what Keith Sweat said, honey. I am sending a mountain of shade and honestly an honorable mention to read the room to Republican Representative Virginia Foxx of North Carolina. Now, Virginia is 82 years old, and child, she is out here putting the eek in elderly. And I personally don't even like the word elderly, and no one should even be called that unless you were okay with it. But Miss Virginia, she's earned it with flying colors. In case you missed it, the headlines in this week were about this North Carolina Congresswoman who sent a harsh response letter to one of her constituents. Now, usually it's just politics, right? Except the constituent was a young man named Christian, and Christian is 10 years old. 10. This little boy wrote a letter as part of a persuasive essay project expressing his concerns on a topic of his choosing, which was a tax break for drivers who purchase electric cars. He was doing exactly what we tell children to do: engage, find your voice, be a good citizen. But Representative Foxx responded like he was her political operative on a debate stage. She was condescending and unnecessarily tough on a literal child who just wanted to get a response back, learn about civic duty, and earn a good grade so he can enjoy his summer. But she started by saying, "Thank you for contacting me to share your thoughts on electronic vehicles. It is heartening to see young people taking an interest in our government and the issues facing our country. However, I must be honest with you. Your letter is a perfect example of the indoctrination that is taking place in our public schools." She goes on to say, "As you continue your education, I hope you will learn to think critically and for yourself rather than simply repeating the talking points you are given in a classroom." Now, Christian admitted he only understood 50% of what her ass wrote in that letter. Representative Foxx, what was your goal here? To bully a fifth grader? Virginia, lady, honey, loosen up that stiff Republican collar. You are out here literally debating children. I've never been more happy, honestly, to relinquish my North Carolina voting rights, and I did that last year. Here's my advice for you. Put on the Chakzilla video. Listen to Pam Grier's interview, and maybe, just maybe, you can get indoctrinated into a higher vibration because right now you're vibrating on the frequency of a sour lemon. Stay getting it, ladies, like Chaka and Pam only. All right, my dears, it's time to read the room. And y'all, the atmosphere is currently heavy with ego, unearned titles, and a staggering amount of pure, unadulterated nerve. I want to start with the man of the hour. And when I say hour, I mean the man who spends minutes on end every few months in a shirtless TikTok apology video, James Charles. Now, full disclosure again, I am not a sister, which for those who aren't in the loop like me, is apparently what he calls his followers. I don't follow James, and to my knowledge, I only learned about him with a quick non-scientific search on Google. And that taught me just this morning. But from what I gathered, Mr. Charles is a seasoned professional of being sorry. By now, you've seen the clips. A Spirit Airlines employee who just lost her livelihood because the entire airline folded. And by the way, those employees are actually filing a class action lawsuit over lost wages, reached out to James and other celebrities for financial help through a GoFundMe link in their DMs. Now, I don't think there was a method to her madness. I think she just sent cold DMs to multiple celebrities and influencers, hoping to get a bite back. Now, if you're a millionaire and a stranger DMs you for money, you have three choices: delete it, ignore it, or I don't know, maybe help them. But he went on this rant calling this woman a lazy piece of shit and entitled, not because she didn't set up a group GoFundMe, maybe, or post a public video, but because she wasn't one of his followers. James, sweetheart, look at the calendar. You are screaming, get a job at someone whose company just evaporated, all from the comfort of a mansion built on sister hoodies and eyeshadow palettes. So here's the cycle for an apology tour. Number one, say something elitist. Number two, get triggered by a regular person just trying to survive. Number three, launch a public smear campaign against said person. Next, watch hundreds of thousands of followers vanish overnight. Finally, post a video looking humble after reflecting on the words that came out of your glossy lips. It's not even just an apology anymore, James. It's a seasonal content drop for you. Despite my disdain for how I even found out about him, because I hate that whole thing happened to her, this isn't just about James. It's about a bigger shift. We are living in a world where the lines between celebrities, influencers, creators, and professionals are being blurred into one messy, confusing soup. I am not here to say influencers don't have talent. They absolutely do. It takes a specific kind of hustle to build a brand from a ring light, okay? But some of y'all have developed a level of narcissism where you've forgotten where your follow button actually leads. You've forgotten that you are guests in our feed, not the landlords of the internet. So look at the drama on the red carpets lately. You've got seasoned journalists who have spent decades learning their craft of the interview being pushed aside for influencers like Jake Shane, who was hired by Vanity Fair for the Oscars after party this year. This very well may have been the singular catalyst for the whole influencers aren't journalists debate that was floating around the internet. And his interview skills, or lack thereof, didn't stop there. Earlier this month, he had Grammy Award-winning country artist Casey Musgraves on his podcast and asked her to explain one of her song lyrics. Basically, Casey has a line in her song Slow Burn where she sings, "In Tennessee, the sun's going down, but in Beijing, they're heading out to work." I mean, I'm known for being off key, but it's something like that. However, Jake said he had been debating that line with his coworker every day. Apparently, he was seeking some metaphorical answer, but instead she was just like, it means what it says, down in different time zone. A simple search would have let you know that song is literally about time and being present in the moment. But I guess those fingers were busy refreshing his social media numbers rather than researching that album. And this brings me right back to Cheyenne Bryant. This is the same energy. It's the I have a platform, therefore I have the authority mentality. Using doctor while talking about mental health because it fits the aesthetic is the same as an influencer taking a press pass from a journalist because they have more TikTok followers. If you want the title, you have to do the time. You can't just manifest a clinical doctorate from a school named after a pirate ship that the federal government eventually sank. Argosy University may have meant treasure trove, but the only thing they were hoarding was student debt and administrative fraud. Listen, I can talk because I look at myself too. I have a Master of Science in Professional Writing. I work for that. But you will notice I don't walk around putting Tiffany Drummond MS on my grocery list or on my podcast. Why? Because I'm self-aware enough to know my MS in professional writing, albeit from NYU, isn't the same as a master of journalism, even though I do have experience in public speaking, interviewing, moderating, research, even podcasting before this. I'm not out here trying to win a Pulitzer Prize for my Instagram captions. I know where my lane starts and where my lane ends. But in the influencer universe, the lane is wherever you decide to point the ring light. Whether it's Kim Kardashian taking the alternative pathway to becoming a lawyer, or someone calling themselves a psychology expert without a license, or an influencer being selected over a journalist to cover the hottest award show in town. It's kind of giving skip the line culture, right? It's a little. The read the room for today is simple. Respect the process. It's like there are four distinct groups fighting for space in our culture. The celebrity, they hold prestige and the traditional talent, but they are often disconnected from the daily grind, right? Then we have the creator, the people producing the scripts, doing the background research, moving the narrative. That is kind of where this podcast of mine will kind of take place. Then you have the influencer, people who are famous for their lifestyle. They drive massive awareness, but as we see in some, not all cases, the awareness can become toxic when there is no craft or process behind it. Then we have the lesser known and forgot about successful non-famous people doing the heavy lifting at millions of jobs that keep the world turning while the internet is fighting over likes and views. The goal isn't to say influencers don't have a place, they absolutely do. Even creators, right? But the room gets dangerous when we value visibility over validity. When we decide that clout is a substitute for a credential, we lose the very expertise that keeps our society grounded. If you want to be a doctor, put in those clinical hours or specified training and get a degree from a school that doesn't disappear overnight. If you want to be a journalist, learn to do research so you aren't confused by time zones. And if you're a millionaire influencer, maybe, just maybe, don't call a laid off flight attendant lazy while you are sitting in a $7 million LA starter home that engagement from people just like her helped you pay for. Well, that's a wrap. If you enjoyed the vibes today, don't keep this goodness to yourself, okay? Come find me on the digital streets because I am out there so we can keep the conversation going. Follow me and catch the chaos and commentary on Instagram at Opinionated Diva and TikTok at The Opinionated Diva. And for the full visual experience, head over to YouTube and find me at The Opinionated Diva. And that is two E's because the energy is just that extra, okay? Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and share the link with somebody who needs to catch the vibes today. You can also find Plenty of Tiff wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, you know the drill. But until next time, peace.